Success doesn't begin at the finish line. It starts the moment you adopt the mindset of someone who's already achieved it. Many people wait for external validation before daring to act boldly or embrace risks. However, true achievers know that the inner victory comes first. Your thoughts shape your reality long before circumstances confirm it. Stop waiting for permission from results and start commanding your future through the power of your perspective today. When you carry yourself like a successful person now, before the money, the title, the recognition, you start attracting the results you've been chasing. Plans help, but they won't save a self-doubt-driven mindset. If you want real change, stop waiting to feel ready. Show up like the future version of you and let reality catch up. Let me ask you something brutally honest. How many opportunities have you lost because you were too scared, too hesitant, or too busy waiting for permission? How many times has the fear of looking stupid or failing publicly burned away your confidence and torn your dreams apart? Deep down, you already know the truth. You're not stuck because life is unfair. You're stuck because you refuse to act like the person you want to become. But here's the powerful secret you're ignoring. The moment you start behaving like the future you, bold, confident, decisive, is the moment your life will transform faster than you ever thought possible. Are you brave enough to confront this uncomfortable truth, or will you keep hiding behind excuses and self-doubt? Stay with me because you're about to discover exactly how acting as if changes everything. Flip the script on confidence. Have you ever noticed how much time you waste waiting for confidence to magically show up before you do something bold? Like, I'll apply for that job once I feel more confident, or I'll introduce myself once I stop feeling awkward. Here's the harsh truth nobody likes to admit. Confidence never comes from waiting. It's not some mysterious gift the universe suddenly drops into your lap. Confidence actually shows up only after you start acting confidently. It's like courage. It appears exactly when you choose to face the things you're afraid of, not a second before. The ancient Stoics figured this out over 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." Simple but powerful, right? He wasn't telling us to wait until we feel powerful. He was saying our power lies entirely in deciding how we think and act right now. If you're constantly waiting for permission, approval, or some internal feeling to finally say you're good enough, you'll spend your whole life waiting. And honestly, you deserve better than that. Psychologist Carl Jung famously said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." Think about that. How many plans have you made that never left the comfort of your imagination because you were too busy doubting yourself? We've all been there. But what if you stopped waiting and started doing? What if you chose right now to step into the shoes of the person you most want to become? The amazing thing is, the moment you start acting with confidence, your mind begins to believe it. It's literally science. Psychologists call this phenomenon the self-perception theory. Basically, your brain watches your actions and then decides, "Oh, I guess I really am confident after all." Try this out. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, don't just roll out of bed into another day. Instead, pause for a moment. Picture the most confident, successful version of yourself. What do they look like? How do they walk into a room? What kind of energy are they giving off? Now embody that. Walk taller. Breathe deeper. Speak slower. Dress not just how you feel right now, but how you would dress if your dreams were already reality. You're not pretending. You're simply bringing your future self into the present because this is who you truly are beneath all the layers of self-doubt and fear. And when those nagging doubts creep back in, and trust me they will, remind yourself of what Epictetus said. First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Don't let insecurity hijack your decisions anymore. Catch yourself in the moment you're tempted to shrink or hesitate, and then intentionally choose confidence instead, whether that's raising your hand at a meeting, making eye contact when you're nervous, or even something as simple as holding your posture straight when you'd rather hide. Every tiny act of courage reshapes who you are from the inside out. Because here's the truth. Confidence isn't a feeling. It's an action, a muscle you build through repeated acts of bravery, no matter how small they seem. Every time you step up when you'd rather step back, you strengthen your inner belief that you can handle whatever life throws your way. Your future self doesn't wait for permission to feel powerful. They act boldly first, and confidence follows. So starting today, flip the script. Choose courage before comfort. Decide to move before you feel fully ready. Stop asking, "Am I confident enough to do this?" And start declaring, "I'm doing this until I'm confident." You've waited long enough. Your life changes the moment you realize you're already worthy of everything you're chasing. Stop dreaming, start doing. Have you ever caught yourself drifting off into those vivid daydreams about the life you're eventually going to live? Maybe you sit at your desk at work, imagining the adventures you'll have once you finally escape the 9-to-5 grind. Or maybe late at night, scrolling endlessly through social media, you visualize a version of yourself who's happier, more successful, living freely and passionately. It feels comforting, right? But there's a tricky little danger hidden in those dreams. They feel so real and satisfying that sometimes you never actually take the step to make them reality. Here's a blunt truth. Your life is never going to magically transform by just dreaming about it. Dreams are beautiful, sure, but without action, they're nothing more than fantasies. Carl Jung nailed this idea perfectly when he said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." Think about it. How many plans, hopes, and goals are you sitting on right now, still untouched because you're waiting for the perfect moment? Spoiler alert, the perfect moment isn't coming. Not next week, not next year. It's never going to show up. But here's the good news. You don't need it to. You see, Stoic philosophers like Seneca warned us clearly about wasting our precious time. He famously said, "While we waste our time hesitating and postponing, life is slipping away." Harsh but true, isn't it? Every day spent waiting to feel ready is a day lost forever. But imagine how quickly your life could change if you stopped waiting and started taking action today. Not huge, scary leaps, just small, consistent steps. Maybe that's waking up a bit earlier to exercise, reading 10 pages of a great book each night, or finally signing up for that class you keep browsing but never enrolling in. Small steps build powerful momentum. Before you realize it, those little daily actions become habits, and those habits form the life you've always dreamed of. Psychologists call this the compound effect. Every small, intentional action you take today, no matter how trivial it might feel, adds up to huge change over time. Think of it like planting seeds. At first, you don't see much happening, just dirt and water. But you keep nurturing it, trusting that something beneath the surface is growing. Eventually, you get to see the plant break through. Your daily habits are exactly like that seed. Even if you don't notice immediate results, trust that something powerful is taking root. The action you take today shapes the life you live tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius beautifully captures this idea, reminding us, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Every moment you're alive is an opportunity to choose action over dreaming. Right now, your future depends entirely on your decision to either keep imagining or start doing. Action transforms your dreams into reality. Without action, dreams remain just that, dreams. So here's what you can do starting now, right this minute. Pick one tiny daily action aligned with your vision for your future. Just one thing. Want to become healthier? Commit to taking a 10-minute walk daily. No excuses. Dream of becoming an author. Write one paragraph each morning. Want a thriving side hustle? Dedicate 20 minutes a day to learning about marketing or networking. By deliberately focusing on consistent daily action, you're telling yourself and the universe that you're serious about making your dreams real. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Seneca said it clearly. It's not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. Stop complicating things. Stop overthinking. Don't let your mind trick you into believing you have to know every step before starting. You don't. Just get going. Life rewards action, not hesitation. Remember, your dream life isn't going to show up out of nowhere one magical morning. You're building it right now, decision by decision, day by day. Dreams are great starting points, but they're not destinations. They're just sparks waiting for you to ignite them through action. So quit dreaming about how good your life could be and start acting on how good it will be. The moment you stop postponing and start performing, your future becomes your present. And trust me, it's going to feel way better than any dream. Fake it until you become it. Have you ever felt like you're just pretending to be someone you're not? Like maybe you walk into a room and put on this confident face, smile big, and act outgoing even though deep inside, you're nervous as hell. We've all done it. And here's the thing. Nobody really tells you that everyone's doing it to some extent. It's called adapting. It's called growing. But somewhere along the way, society convinced us that faking confidence or charisma means we're being phony. And that's just completely missing the point. You see, pretending isn't about lying to yourself. It's about practicing who you genuinely want to become. Carl Jung said something really profound about this. He said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But notice something important there. Jung didn't say you're born exactly who you'll end up being. You have to become it. And becoming always starts with a bit of pretending, experimenting, and acting as if you already possess the qualities you're working toward. It's not deception. It's rehearsal. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus advised his students, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because change feels awkward at first. You're stepping out of your comfort zone. You're wearing new behaviors like a jacket that doesn't quite fit yet. But the more you wear it, the more comfortable and natural it becomes. Eventually, it's not a costume anymore. It's just who you are. Think about how you learned anything new. A sport, a language, an instrument. You fumbled around, making mistakes, feeling foolish. But by continuing to act like you could do it, eventually you could. Confidence works exactly the same way. Psychologists actually have a term for this. It's called behavioral activation. Fancy wording, but basically it means your actions shape your feelings. Do something often enough, even if you don't feel like it, and soon your mind believes that's who you genuinely are. Act like a confident person, and guess what? Over time, you become genuinely confident. Act friendly and open, and eventually your comfort in social settings grows. Your brain is literally rewiring itself with every intentional action you take. It's powerful stuff, but only if you commit to it consistently. Here's how you make it practical in your daily life. Next time you're about to enter a situation where you're feeling unsure, maybe it's a big presentation at work, an important date, or even a casual meetup where you don't know anyone, pause and consciously choose how you want to show up. Tell yourself clearly, right now, I'm deciding to be confident, friendly, and engaging. Hold yourself to that standard, even if it's uncomfortable at first. Stand straight, smile warmly, make steady eye contact, introduce yourself boldly, and ask genuine questions. Don't think of this as pretending. Think of it as practice. You're training your brain and your body to embrace a new identity, your ideal identity. Marcus Aurelius put it another way. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. In other words, your mind is highly adaptable. If you present it with the image of who you want to be, it will learn and adjust until that new identity sticks. Think of it like upgrading your software. Your current habits and thoughts are just old programs running automatically, but you're free at any moment to install an upgraded version by consistently acting differently. And yes, at first it feels weird, uncomfortable, even fake. But guess what? That discomfort is exactly the point. It means you're stepping out of the familiar into something new and transformative. Discomfort is just a sign you're growing. The Stoics teach us to welcome this discomfort, to see it as a guidepost rather than something to avoid. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Your fear of looking silly or fake is probably way worse than anything that'll actually happen. The world isn't paying nearly as much attention as you think it is. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves to judge you. So here's what you do starting today. Make peace with feeling awkward. Embrace the idea that faking it is just a powerful rehearsal for the real you. Every day, deliberately do something small that stretches your comfort zone. Start a conversation. Share an opinion. Ask for what you want clearly and directly. Over time, these deliberate acts become second nature, and before you even realize it, you're no longer pretending. You're simply being. Jung reminded us, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." You have the freedom right now, today, to choose who you'll become tomorrow. Don't waste that incredible power. Use it. Remember, this isn't about faking it until you make it. This is about acting boldly until boldness is your default. It's about living confidently until confidence defines who you are. Start today. Right now. Become the person you've been waiting for. The moment you start practicing it, you're already becoming it. Master the power of decisiveness. Let me ask you something. How many times have you talked yourself out of something not because it was impossible, but because you hesitated too long? Maybe it was a job opportunity, a new idea, a person you wanted to talk to, or even something as simple as a habit you knew you needed to start. You felt the nudge. You knew the move was right, but you paused, and then the moment passed. That tiny pause, that hesitation, it cost you. It always costs something. Momentum, confidence, opportunity. Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they can't decide fast enough when it matters most. Here's the truth. Indecision is the silent killer of progress. It feels safe, like you're just thinking it through, weighing the pros and cons. But in reality, it's fear disguised as logic. Carl Jung once said, "In all chaos, there is a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order." And in that same way, behind every moment of hesitation, lies a hidden truth. You're not confused. You're afraid. Afraid of being wrong. Afraid of failing. Afraid of judgment. But you can't live an extraordinary life by trying to avoid all risk. Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Read that again. The fear doesn't go away by waiting. The path doesn't get clearer the longer you stare at it. Clarity is born from movement, not stillness. We idolize decisiveness because it radiates power. You can feel it when someone speaks with conviction or takes bold action without second-guessing every step. That kind of presence, it's magnetic. It's leadership. And the good news is, it's learnable. Decisiveness isn't a personality trait you either have or don't. It's a practice. It's a choice you make again and again until it becomes your default setting. Start small. Decide what you're having for lunch without overthinking it. Pick a book and read it through without switching halfway. When someone asks your opinion, don't dance around it. Say what you actually think. These might sound like tiny, silly examples, but they're mental reps. You're building the muscle of decision-making. And with each small decision made quickly and clearly, your brain learns to trust itself more. That self-trust, that's where real confidence begins. The Stoics had a brilliant way of approaching this. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Simple, clear, immediate. The Stoic path wasn't about endless analysis. It was about living with integrity and acting with purpose. When you live by strong principles, your choices become easier. When you know your values, your next move doesn't require mental gymnastics. It's either aligned or it's not. And when it's aligned, you move. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is that we need more time to think. But most of the time, we're not gaining clarity. We're building doubt. The longer you wait, the more fear creeps in. the more imaginary scenarios your mind invents, and suddenly what was once a simple choice now feels like a mountain of anxiety. Sound familiar? Psychologically, this is called an analysis paralysis. It's a real thing. Your brain literally short-circuits under too much information, especially when perfectionism gets involved. And perfectionism is just fear in a nice outfit. Here's the cure. Done is better than perfect. Progress is better than perfection. You don't need to make the perfect move. You just need to make a move. So what's something you've been overthinking lately? That project you keep postponing. That conversation you've been avoiding. That big life shift you're waiting for the right time to start. Here's a reality check. There is no perfect time. There's just now. And now is always the moment that builds your future. Every time you make a bold, clear decision, you send a message to your brain. I trust myself. And the more you trust yourself, the less you hesitate. This isn't about rushing through life or making reckless choices. It's about being intentional. It's about having a bias toward action. You don't need to have all the answers before you begin. You just need enough clarity to take the next step. As Jung said, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. When you know what you value and what you want to build, your decisions become less about guessing and more about alignment. It becomes a matter of integrity. So here's the move. Start practicing decisiveness every single day. Build that identity. Don't wait for permission, and don't wait for certainty. Both are illusions. Trust that you're capable of figuring things out as you go. That's what every successful person has done. Act, adjust, repeat. Action is clarity. Action is confidence. And action is the only thing that moves you from who you are now to who you want to be. Stop letting hesitation hold the pen to your life story. You don't need more time. You need more courage. Decide boldly, live intentionally, and let every choice you make be a statement. I'm not here to stall. I'm here to lead. Build resilience by acting unshakable. Let's be real. Life doesn't pull punches. It hits hard. And sometimes it doesn't even give you time to brace yourself. 1 minute you're cruising along, and the next you're dealing with rejection, failure, heartbreak, or some curveball you never saw coming. It's brutal. And in those moments, it's easy to think, why is this happening to me? But here's a question that cuts deeper. What if the way you're responding is the real problem? Because while you can't always control what happens, you have absolute power over how you respond. And that response, that's where your resilience is born. Most people think resilience is some kind of superpower reserved for the tough, the strong, the naturally optimistic. But that's a lie. Resilience isn't something you're born with. It's something you build on purpose. And often you build it by acting unshakable before you actually feel unshakable. You step into strength even while you're still shaking. You show up calm even while your insides are screaming. That's not pretending. That's training. The Stoics mastered this mindset. They believed adversity wasn't something to avoid. It was the arena where greatness was forged. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That quote right there, it's not just poetic. It's practical. Whatever challenge you're facing right now, whatever pain or chaos has shown up in your life, you can either crumble under it, or you can use it. Use it to become more focused, more disciplined, more emotionally bulletproof. Carl Jung echoed a similar truth when he said, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. That means your setbacks don't define you. Your response does. So when life drops you to your knees, you have two options, shrink and spiral, or rise and evolve. And sometimes, rising doesn't mean leaping up all at once. Sometimes it's just refusing to stay down. Now here's something most people won't tell you. Resilience doesn't always look strong. Sometimes it looks like getting out of bed when you don't want to. Sometimes it's sending that email, even though you feel like a failure. Sometimes it's just choosing not to quit today. And when you make those tiny, quiet choices to keep going, Those are your strongest moments. That's you building mental muscle. That's you becoming unbreakable, piece by piece. And let's not ignore the mental warfare that comes with setbacks. You know the voice I'm talking about, the one that says, "You're not good enough. You should have never tried. This proves you're a failure." That voice lies. It's just your brain trying to protect you from more pain by pulling you back into comfort. But growth doesn't live in comfort. Growth lives in that uncomfortable space where you fall, rise, and repeat. Psychologically, this is known as cognitive reappraisal, a fancy term for reframing how you interpret challenges. Instead of seeing a failure as proof you're not capable, you reframe it as evidence that you're in the middle of a transformation. Because truthfully, struggle is a signal that you're doing something meaningful. People who stay comfortable don't struggle. They stay stuck. So if it hurts, it probably means you're on the right path. Here's a Stoic move you can borrow immediately. Next time you face a setback, ask yourself, what is this here to teach me? Not why me, but try me. That small shift changes everything. It puts you back in the driver's seat. It reminds you that no matter how chaotic life feels, you are not a victim. You are a sculptor. Every challenge is raw material. And how you respond, that's the chisel. And let's be honest, there's power in persistence. It's not flashy. It's not glamorous. But it's relentless. The person who keeps showing up, keeps pushing forward, keeps believing even when everything around them says, quit. That's the person who becomes unstoppable. Not because life got easier, but because they got stronger. So what does acting unshakable look like for you today? Maybe it's choosing not to complain. Maybe it's sticking to your plan even when you feel discouraged. Maybe it's letting go of what you can't control and focusing all your energy on what you can. Each of those actions is a brick in the foundation of your resilience. Speak your success into existence. Let's be honest. Most people have no idea how much power their words carry. The things you say out loud, the way you talk to yourself in your head, it's shaping your life more than you realize. And I'm not just talking about the big speeches or motivational affirmations in the mirror. I'm talking about the casual stuff, the throwaway comments, the quiet inner monologue you don't think anyone hears. Because guess what? You hear it, and your subconscious is always listening. Every time you say, "I'm not good at this," or "I'm probably going to fail," or "I'm just not that type of person," you're writing a story. And the more you repeat it, the more your brain starts to believe it as fact. That's not some feel-good fantasy. It's neuroscience. It's called self-fulfilling prophecy. Your expectations influence your behavior, which then creates the very outcome you predicted. Say you're going to mess up. You'll probably act in a way that ensures you do. Say you're going to win. Your actions align with that vision. It becomes a loop. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That hits hard, doesn't it? Your words are how you start making the unconscious conscious. They bring what's hidden out into the open, where it can either be healed or hardened. If you constantly speak from fear, scarcity, or limitation, that becomes your reality. But if you speak from belief, vision, and intention, that's when the shift starts to happen. The Stoics understood this power too. Epictetus taught that people are disturbed not by things, but by the view they take of them. Your words reflect your view. They're your internal narrative broadcast out loud. And the best part? You can change the story anytime. It starts by paying attention to what you're actually saying, not just to others, but to yourself. Start noticing the language you use around your goals. Do you say, "I hope it works out"? Or do you say, "I'm building this, and I'm going to make it work"? Do you say, "I'll try"? Or do you say, "I will"? That shift may sound small, but it changes the energy behind everything you do. It changes how you walk into rooms, how you handle setbacks, how you interpret success and failure. Because now you're not waiting. You're declaring. You're taking ownership. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about pretending everything's perfect or faking confidence. This is about choosing the language that aligns with who you're becoming, not who you've been. Think of your words like seeds. Every time you speak with intention, you're planting something in your future. Speak doubt. You grow hesitation. Speak belief. You grow momentum. It's that real. Here's a practical challenge. Start your day by saying 3 powerful affirmations out loud. Not fluffy nonsense, but statements that reflect the person you're actively becoming. Things like, show up with confidence even when I feel unsure. Make progress every day, no matter how small. I am becoming the kind of person who finishes what they start. Say them like you mean them. Feel the truth behind them, even if it feels awkward at first. Do it anyway. You're not performing, you're programming. And when you mess up, because we all do, watch your language there too. Instead of saying, I'm such an idiot, say, I learned something. I'll handle it better next time. That's not denial, that's direction. You're choosing to point your mind toward growth rather than shame. The Stoics were huge on this mindset. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your words are the tools you use to shape your mind. You don't need to control the world. You just need to control your narrative about the world. That alone can change everything. And let's not ignore the impact your words have on other people. When you speak from belief, you inspire belief in others. Your energy becomes contagious. You create a ripple effect. You might never know how your words lift someone else out of their own self-doubt. That's legacy right there, not in what you own, but in how you make others feel when you speak. So from now on, speak your life with intention. Choose your words like they matter, because they do. Speak power into your path. Speak vision into your goals. Speak strength into your struggle. Speak love and certainty and resilience into every inch of your life, and watch the universe start matching your energy. You are the author of your reality, whether you realize it or not. So start writing something worth living. Speak it until you live it, and then live it so boldly others feel it when you walk in the room. Surround yourself with success energy. Have you ever noticed how just being around certain people can completely shift your energy? Like you walk away from a conversation with some folks feeling inspired, clear-headed, ready to tackle anything. But then there are others. You spend 10 minutes with them, and suddenly you're second-guessing yourself, doubting your decisions, or just straight-up drained. That's not an accident. That's energy transfer. And whether you realize it or not, the people you spend the most time with are shaping your mindset, your habits, and ultimately your future. There's a saying that's been floating around forever. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now that might sound a little dramatic, but it's rooted in something real. Psychologists call it social contagion. The idea that emotions, behaviors, even beliefs can spread from person to person like a virus. So if you're constantly surrounded by people who are negative, fearful, or stuck in a scarcity mindset, you're going to absorb that, even if you're the most positive, growth-driven person in the room. That energy still pulls on you. It's like trying to swim upstream with an anchor tied to your ankle. Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." That's ancient wisdom that still hits home today. If the people around you don't make you feel stronger, clearer, and more capable, it might be time to rethink who's sitting at your table. This isn't about cutting people off cold or becoming heartless. It's about protecting your purpose. You have a vision, you have goals, and your environment needs to support that, not sabotage it. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of 2 personalities is like the contact of 2 chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." Read that again. Both are transformed. That means every relationship in your life is either fueling your growth or draining it. There's no neutral ground. So ask yourself, who challenges me to rise? Who mirrors back the version of me I'm working to become? And just as importantly, who am I when I'm around certain people? Because sometimes the issue isn't what they're doing. It's who you become when you're around them. And here's where it gets interesting. When you start acting as if you're already successful, already focused, driven, and purpose-filled, you naturally begin to attract people who are on that same wavelength. It's not magic. It's alignment. People feel your energy, your clarity, your momentum, and they either rise to match it or they fall away. That's not rejection. That's refinement. It's your life making space for what's meant for your growth. But this also requires intentionality. You have to choose your circle. It doesn't just happen. You can't leave something this important up to chance. So start seeking out people who inspire you. Follow creators, thinkers, leaders who challenge your thinking in a good way. Join communities that breathe possibility and drive. Have real conversations with people who won't let you play small. And remember, proximity to greatness creates potential for greatness. The Stoics also believed in the concept of sympathia, a deep interconnectedness with others. But they weren't saying you have to blend in with just anyone. It's about conscious connection, being around those who live by principle, who train their minds, who pursue excellence, not for applause, but because it's who they are. When you align with people like that, you don't just grow, you evolve. And let's not forget, this isn't just about getting energy. It's about giving it. Be the person who uplifts others. Be the one who holds the vision when someone else forgets. Speak life. Speak truth. Share knowledge. Push your people forward. Growth isn't a competition. It's a collaboration. And when your inner circle is built on shared values and mutual accountability, you all rise higher, faster, together. So here's your challenge. Audit your circle. Be brutally honest. Who adds fuel to your fire? Who throws water on it? And don't just wait to find the right people. Become the right person. The kind of person whose energy makes others want to step up. That's how you build a circle that isn't just full of people. You build one full of purpose, alignment, and real momentum. Protect your environment like your life depends on it, because it does. Energy is contagious, so surround yourself with people who remind you of where you're going, not where you've been. People who speak vision, not just gossip. People who are hungry for more, just like you. Because when your circle gets better, you get better. And when you get better, everything in your life starts to shift. Adapt like a winner. Let's be real. Change is uncomfortable. It throws off your rhythm, messes with your plans, and forces you to let go of what feels safe. And yet, change is the only constant. It's the one thing you can absolutely count on. Life will shift. Circumstances will evolve. People will leave. Opportunities will morph. And the question is never if it's going to happen. It's how you're going to respond when it does. Most people resist change because it threatens their sense of control. We cling to routines, habits, and familiar environments because they give us a false sense of security. But here's the paradox. The more you try to control everything, the more fragile you become. The more adaptable you are, the more powerful you become. Because when change hits, and it always does, adaptability is what separates the ones who crumble from the ones who rise. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom yourself to consider that the nature of the universe loves nothing so much as to change the things which are and to make new things like them." Translation: nature is built to evolve, and so are you. Resisting that is like trying to stop the ocean with your hands. You're better off learning how to surf the waves than getting crushed by them. Carl Jung had a similar insight when he said, "What you resist persists." That inner tension you feel when you fight change doesn't actually stop it. It just drains your energy. It puts you in a defensive position when you should be playing offense. Because adaptability isn't about passively accepting whatever comes your way. It's about actively adjusting, pivoting, reimagining the path forward while staying anchored to your purpose. Think about it. Every success story you admire is really just someone who learned to adapt. It wasn't a straight line. It was trial and error, growth and setbacks, learning and unlearning. The people who win long-term are the ones who know how to pivot without losing momentum. When one door shuts, they don't stare at it for months. They look for another door or build one. That's real power. That's strategic flexibility. In psychology, this is known as psychological flexibility, the ability to stay open, present, and willing to shift behavior when circumstances require it. Studies have shown that people with high psychological flexibility are not only more successful, but also happier, more resilient, and better equipped to handle stress. It's like having an internal GPS that recalculates every time the route changes. You don't throw the whole car away. You just find a new way to the destination. So how do you build that kind of adaptability in your everyday life? Start with your mindset. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How is this shaping me?" That shift in framing immediately puts you in a place of growth instead of victimhood. Next, practice flexibility in the small things. Change your routine once a week. Try new approaches to old problems. Say yes to something that scares you a little. These micro-adjustments train your brain to become more comfortable with the unknown. The Stoics would call this premeditatio malorum, the practice of imagining possible future difficulties, not to obsess over them, but to prepare for them mentally and emotionally. It's not pessimism, it's preparation. By anticipating change and challenge, you soften their impact. You meet them not with panic, but with poise. And here's the kicker. Adaptability doesn't mean you're flaky or inconsistent. Quite the opposite. It means you're committed to your vision, but flexible in your methods. You don't abandon the goal. You adjust the game plan. That's the mindset of a winner. Because the truth is, the person who adapts fastest wins. Not the smartest, not the strongest. The most adaptable. Positivity is your new superpower. Some days it feels like the whole world is trying to test your patience. You wake up late, spill your coffee, traffic's a mess, and then your inbox looks like it exploded. It's almost laughable how fast things can go sideways. And in those moments, staying positive doesn't exactly feel natural. Let's be honest, when life feels like it's punching you from all directions, positivity can feel fake, even naive. But here's the twist. That's exactly when it's most powerful. Most people think positivity is about pretending everything's fine, or walking around with a fake smile. Nope. Real positivity is way deeper. It's not about ignoring problems. It's about refusing to be ruled by them. It's the mindset that says, "I'm choosing to focus on what I can control, and I'm going to make the most of this, no matter what." And that choice, that's strength. The Stoics were masters at this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." He wasn't living in some peaceful bubble. He was literally dealing with war, betrayal, plagues, and yet he chose to see meaning, to stay grounded, to focus on his response rather than the chaos. That's not delusion. That's discipline. That's mindset mastery, and it's a skill anyone can develop. Carl Jung took it a step further when he said, "Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness." In other words, you're not supposed to feel good all the time. That's not the point. The point is to choose your outlook even when things aren't perfect. That's what gives your joy weight and your optimism substance. See, the truth is, your brain is wired to scan for problems. It's called the negativity bias, a survival mechanism that helped early humans stay alert to danger. But in today's world, it often just keeps you stressed, cynical, or paralyzed. And if you're not intentional, you'll find yourself defaulting to that negativity day after day, until it feels normal. That's why positivity has to be a deliberate decision, not something you feel like doing, something you commit to doing. So how do you actually build that kind of mental muscle? Start by taking ownership of your internal dialogue. Notice the language you use when things go wrong. Do you say, "This always happens to me"? Or do you say, "This is temporary. I'll figure it out"? That shift matters. It rewires your mind. It trains your focus. It reminds you that setbacks are moments, not definitions. Another way, practice gratitude, especially when you don't feel like it. Not in some fluffy, forced way, but real gratitude. The kind where you pause, look around, and acknowledge what is working. Your breath, your ability to adapt, the fact that you've made it through 100% of your worst days so far. That's not small, that's your foundation. The Stoics called this kind of practice voluntary discomfort. They would purposely imagine losing the things they loved, not to be morbid, but to deepen their appreciation. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." That's timeless wisdom. And in practice, it's incredibly grounding. Because once you start seeing the blessings in your current reality, your energy shifts. And once your energy shifts, your actions follow. Here's another truth. Positivity is contagious. Ever been around someone who just radiates good energy, even when things aren't perfect? It lifts you. It reminds you that joy doesn't have to be loud or flashy. It can be calm, steady, and strong. Be that person. You don't need to be over the top. Just be rooted, steady, clear. That's the kind of presence people remember. And when things really get hard, when it feels like everything's crumbling, positivity is what keeps you moving. It whispers, "You're not done yet." It reminds you that challenges don't last forever, but the strength you gain from facing them does. It's not about denying the pain. It's about deciding that the pain won't define you. So from now on, treat your mindset like your most valuable asset, because it is. Protect it. Nurture it. Choose thoughts that build, not break. Speak words that empower, not drain. And surround yourself with energy that lifts, not limits. Because positivity isn't some cute little add-on to success. It's the foundation. It's the armor. It's the fuel. Your life starts now. Act like it. You've waited long enough. The future you keep imagining doesn't arrive on its own. It's built by what you choose to do right now. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, but now. The Stoics believe that the present moment is all we truly own. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do, say, and think. This isn't about hustling harder or chasing perfection. It's about living deliberately. Carl Jung reminded us that the greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parent. Don't pass your unlived life to the next version of you. Don't let doubt delay your purpose. Start showing up like the person you were meant to become. Every action you take, every word you speak, every thought you allow, it's shaping your legacy. So stop waiting for the right conditions. Start acting like your life already matters, because it does.